Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Friday, December 20th, and the energies in the day adds up and reduced to number 4 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. I'm smiling because maybe there'll be an overlap from yesterday's energy into today's energy. And maybe there's an overlap from yesterday's energy into today's, where maybe yesterday you may have overreacted about something or got super passionate where something is concerned. And today you're low key kind of like smiling, like it kind of wasn't that serious. But in the moment it felt that way, or maybe just getting carried away to a certain extent with something. And then come today, yesterday has its own things to deal with, but maybe there's a more critical vibe. Yes, critical, because the moon is in Virgo. So to me, it's like, say yesterday you had the courage to like say something, or, you know, you stood on business when it comes to something. And then today you're questioning. So I don't like this energy within myself. I don't do it anymore, but with like, so the moon is in Virgo, and with my Virgo rising and combination of other placements, I used to speak my mind and let a person know what time it is, and then turn around and feel so bad about it. Because there's other parts of me that's like, nope. There's other parts of me that feel like, okay, you want to play stupid games, you're gonna win some stupid prizes. But then there's a part of me that's like, but, you know, sympathizing even when the reaction is justified. And I feel like when it comes to today's energy, I don't do that anymore though. I don't do that anymore because I realize that, for a lot of us, growing up, we may have had certain experiences, and from our experiences or our perceptions of reality, we probably were made to feel guilty every time we assert ourselves, speak up for ourselves, stand up for ourselves. So I was aware that that was a toxic programming that caused me to feel guilty after speaking up for myself, standing up for myself, asserting myself. And once I was aware of that, that didn't have any power over me anymore. And that's the power of awareness. Like sometimes we'll think that so much is required in order to shift something within us. And all that's required in order to make the biggest shift is to just become aware. It's like just becoming aware of a thing. Like it doesn't have the power that it had when it was like zooming around in the darkness. Once you put some light on it, it's like now you know, like, okay, this is what is happening, and I'm choosing to be this, where I'm choosing to do that. But it did take me time to get to the point where I realized that I am conditioned to feel bad when I shouldn't. And, you know, I had to remind myself until I got used to not feeling bad for standing up for myself, or speaking up for myself, or asserting myself. So, you know, if say from yesterday, today you find yourself reflecting on something and find yourself feeling bad, even though, like I used to hate when I would always say, why this person got to make us have a problem? Make us have a problem in the sense that, say there's a deal, there's an agreement, and they don't follow through. And now, you got to get ugly about getting your money. Let's say you got to get ugly about getting your money. And it's like they're looking at you like you're being crazy when they're the ones like not following through with the agreement. They're the ones breaking the rules or whatnot. But don't allow people to gaslight you. Do not allow people to gaslight you. Gaslighting you meaning acting like something isn't happening when in fact that's exactly what's happening. When it comes to today's energy, it just brings me to the importance of trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. There's a saying that they say, when they go low, drop it to the floor. In my mind, I'm like, they go low, I'm gonna take us on a ride to the underworld. And that's okay. Meaning it's like, don't allow people to gaslight you. Like if you gotta stand up and speak up for, speak up for what's yours, stand up and speak up for what's yours, because there are people out there that'll make it seem like, well, you over exaggerated. It wasn't that serious, or I was just playing. Well, if that's how you play, don't play with me. Because when I start playing, people gonna start crying. So when it comes to today's energy, it just, don't allow for anybody to cause you to question what it is that you're feeling or how you truly feel about a thing. And with the day being the 20th, the number 2 is a very sensitive, emotional energy. And with the energies in the day adding up and reducing to number 4 vibration, there's something about the foundation. And I feel like when it comes to the foundation today, it's our emotional foundation. Emotional foundation meaning, I think of how as people we survived as a community. And from surviving as a community, there are parts of us that know the fear of being singled out or separate. And we could still feel the past memories or experiences of being singled out or separate. So whenever we do something that singles out or makes us separate, some of us it makes us feel some type of way, because I think within us, we could still feel the repercussions or consequences of being isolated. And with the moon in Virgo today, the moon is in a place that's super critical. And with Virgo's critical energy, it's like you might feel like you can't do nothing right. Might feel like you can't do absolutely nothing right. And there's this disconnect with the moon and Mercury, as like the mind and the inner world is in 2 different places. Because the mind, Mercury, is in Sagittarius, which the mind wants to explore things outside of us. It wants to travel and wants to go on these adventures. But then with the moon in Virgo, the moon in Virgo wants to help. It wants to analyze details. It wants to look at patterns. It's reflecting on perfection. How could I be better? And with that squaring Jupiter in Gemini, to me, is creating conflict when it comes to us interacting with others. And in some cases, we might feel like, oh, I just don't like people, or I don't want to be bothered with them. But it might be that they're triggering insecurities, why there's this avoidance or irritation when it comes to mingling or socializing or just being bothered with others. The spirit guidance is the cheetah energy in the reversal position. And with the cheetah energy, the cheetah brings me to a quick sprint. It brings me to like hurrying up and doing something. It brings me to a burst of energy. And in the reversal position, the cheetah would bring me to the thought of something's going to need more time than you think. Something's going to require more energy than you think. So I think of like someone thinking, okay, I put a few minutes aside to address this thing. And it's like that thing is going to need more than just a few minutes. That's going to require more energy, or looking to make it happen overnight, or looking for the quick way. The quick way is not the right way when it comes to something that's being dealt with. And I just keep also getting a big emphasis on the emotional state, the emotion, something about your emotions, like learning to trust what it is that you're feeling and being curious and compassionate when it comes to your feelings, being curious and compassionate when it comes to your shadow self, the not so pleasant side of your personality. Because as I dive into shadow work and reflection, based on my understanding, it's like while I'm a child or a little person, while I'm in a little body feeling inferior, shadow parts of me are developed as a form of protection. And as a child, those shadow sides will protect you. But then when you become an adult, those shadows that were once developed as a form of protection becomes a block or a hindrance. So I feel like as an adult, we have to spend a lot of time being curious and compassionate about our shadows, because they were all created as a form of protection. And whenever I do like reflective work, and I might ask myself, what's blocking me right now when it comes to this, that, or the next? And I'll become acquainted with a shadowy aspect of myself. And after like reflecting and observing that shadow aspect of myself, reflecting on when I think it was created, why I think it was created, and the role that it's played, you know, I'll thank that part of myself for its hard work. It's like a soldier. Thank you for your service. Because at one point that shadow aspect was a form of protection. And I'll thank that side of myself for the work that it's done, and let that side of myself know that I got it from here. So now it could retire, it could go relax. I'll imagine this ideal dream fantasy place, and that I aspire to experience one day in this physical realm. And I'll retire my shadow self to a location within that space that fits the personality of my shadow self. And of course, like I said, I thank that shadow aspect of myself, because at one point its way of being was necessary. It was a form of protection, but it's not necessary anymore. So when it comes to today, it brings me to the thought of like, maybe there's something emotional that someone's dealing with, and they're thinking like, you know, a quick thing will get to the root of a thing. And it's like, no, more attention needs to be placed on this thing. So whatever it is that you feel irritated or annoyed by has to do with your foundation, you know, the foundation needing to be addressed. When I think of the foundation needing to be addressed, like I think of like, say two people getting to know each other, and say, you know, today they find themselves irritated because, I don't know, maybe something that was a misunderstanding from yesterday. And instead of brushing the irritants under the rug, to me, it would be good to be compassionate and curious and understand where each person is coming from, why they see things the way they do, and how they could come together, how they could work together. With the cheetah energy, it brings me to the feeling of wanting to dismiss something or push it under the rug. And I get the feeling for someone here hating, feeling like they're being a problem, feeling like they're causing this. And when it comes to manipulation, like a manipulator will make you feel like you're overreacting. They'll make you feel like we always have a problem because you make a problem. They'll make you feel like everything is fine, but you always make it a problem. And it's like, no, if I think of like the person that keeps making the problem, it's like trying to swallow something that won't stay down, and naturally it keeps coming up for you to throw it up. That comparison reminds me of the person that can't allow something to rest, and to the other person it's like, why you keep creating problems when everything is fine? Everything is fine for you, but everything clearly isn't fine for both people involved. It brings me to the thought of when someone's like, go with the flow. Go with what flow? This is my flow. And clearly going with the flow means going with your flow. So when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to the importance of loving your company enough to the point that you won't settle for bad company. Because out of fear of being within our own company, a lot of us will settle for not so good company, and then in return tear ourselves down. Because if that energy isn't in alignment with our truth, then it's like we're ignoring the truth of who we are just so we could be in the presence of someone else. And it's like, you don't want that. So today's energy brings me to, the importance of loving your own company enough to not settle for anything that isn't in alignment with it, anything that doesn't support its growth. We have the moon card in the reversal position. And with the moon card coming out in the reversal position, tying into today's energy, It brings me to refusing to see something. What is it that you're refusing to see? Why are you refusing to see this thing? What does it mean if you were to actually allow yourself to see the truth in this thing? It's like someone saying that I don't know what to do. And I always find that whenever someone says they don't know what to do, it's because they're afraid to do what needs to be done. I think of the person in the toxic relationship, and I say toxic relationship because 1 minute in the relationship when they're given their all and they're invested, the other person pulls away and gives them crumbs. And whenever they make up their mind that they're done and they're moving on, all of a sudden the person pulls them closer again. And it starts to make them feel crazy because it's like, every time when they take their power back and say they're done, they're pulled back in. And then when they get pulled back in and they give in, then the person pulls away. And it's this constant mental game. And the person will say, well, I don't know what to do. And it's like the answers, when it comes to what to do, the answers is within the person's behavior and how they've been showing up when it comes to the connection. But out of fear of being alone for some of us, and then for others, it's not just being alone. We have these ideas in our head, like I was saying in yesterday's message, like smart marketers and psychologists, people come together and they sell things to us, ideas, dreams, and goals to us. And we're fighting for these things that we don't even want. So that person, that's fighting for the toxic relationship might be fighting for the toxic relationship because society says that, your life should look a certain way at a certain point. So they're fighting for a connection with someone that probably don't even want to be with them. And they would know that if they were with the person while the person was at their best. Where a lot of the times you don't really know how someone feels about you if you've only known them to be at their worst. Because if they were at their best, would you be an option? Would you be an option if they were at their best? If they were financially where they want to be, if they were financially where they want to be, emotionally where they want to be, spiritually where they want to be, would you be a choice? But what I find funny in situations like that, both people are settling in the sense that, say the two people in the toxic relationship and the one who keeps playing the game. And it's like, if that person was where they wanted to be financially, they probably wouldn't be here. But the person who keeps allowing the bad behavior to happen, if they were where they needed to be spiritually and emotionally, they wouldn't even entertain the BS. They wouldn't even entertain the BS. So for me, over the years, it clicked that true success comes from emotional and spiritual growth. We've been conditioned to think that true success comes from what we have to show, the tangible material things that's always losing value every second that goes by. We were taught that should be our definition of success, where if success for you has to do with your spiritual and your emotional growth, then that means no matter what you gain or lose, you have the ability within you to make anything happen. You have the ability within you to make anything happen. And from growing spiritually and emotionally, you're good with being within your own company because you know that you're never alone. You're never alone even when you're by yourself. You're aware of the support that's always present, that's always around you. So you no longer look for it in others because most of the time they don't even have it to give themselves to give it to you. So not giving to you what you would like for them, it's not, them not giving you what you would like from them, it's not intentional. They don't even have it for themselves. So when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to taking some time to look a little bit deeper when it comes to certain emotional wounds, emotional traits, or emotional ways of being. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a green heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.